This has been a topic since I can remember. A topic that I want to bring to your attention, and it is something that I know a little bit about from various angles, from the prosecution side, from the defense side, and the like. And I invite you to join me to answer these particular questions. How do we stop crime? Can we stop crime? Can we lessen crime? Can we make a dent in it? There was another tragic shooting in Austin today. Why? Is it because of the number of guns? The fact that we do have guns? What is it? What is it, do you think, causes us? Thank you. What is it that causes us to shoot, to kill? Is it overplayed? Is it because of the fact that machines or these devices that allow us to bring up every single, maybe in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, maybe there were even worse cases, but we never had this. I don't think we had public shootings like this. But what's the reason? Because that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. The left are going to be saying, we have to do something about the guns. You got to get rid of the guns. The guns, don't you understand? The guns are the problem. The guns. How are we going to get rid of guns? Is that it? There are devices that can be used to bludgeon, truncheon, beat, stab, kill. Guns are a part of it. Do you think that we're going to be able to get rid of them? No. There is something that is different with us today. Something that is different. Something that I don't know how to put into perspective, but something that's depraved. Something that's demented. Something about us that we never had before. There are other countries. There are other countries that have guns, more guns than we do. I mean, more guns and more, well, maybe not more guns, but more homicides per 100,000. Absolutely, positively, through the roof. They are go down Honduras, and this is the thing. There's more homicides. But when you look at their homicides, the homicides that they have are involving drug, turf, behaviors involving crime. Our craziness involves stuff that's just people killing each other for reasons we don't know, to go into a mall and start shooting people. This is the part which is, and I'm going to say to you, it is not mental illness. And I know this is going to bother people. I don't know what it is. There is something that just changes. All of a sudden, and I know this may be, you might laugh at this, but all of a sudden, everybody decided to have tattoos. Why? I don't know. All of a sudden, people, and particularly women, dressed like trollops, skanks, courtesans, mistresses. Why? I don't know. I don't know. All of a sudden, people were losing their minds at airports. Why? I don't know. And when we force ourselves into coming up with a reason, I don't know. People have been trying to figure out why there have been raising rates, if you will, of cancer. Cannot really point to anything in particular. I mean, they have some theories. The thing is, we don't know. There's also been, we never hear about this, but there's also been greater benevolence and beneficence and charity and philanthropy than we've ever seen. The greatest charity and philanthropy that ever occurred in our history was right around the early 20th century, during the time of the robber barons. Why? I don't know. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is I don't know why. I don't know why. We love to point at things because we all have a particular reason. It might be drugs, might be social media, it might be the decline of God in schools, God in the curricula, God at home, the fact that we don't have dinner together. You can point to a thing. So my first point is we don't know why it's so. Don't know why. Have no idea. Can't figure it out. I have no idea why in the name of God this is so. Can't figure it out. I don't know. But I do know this, that when you report something and you let people see it as occurring, it actually increases the frequency of that in the first place. I'll give you an example. When you have somebody who commits a murder and then you have uh, his manifesto written, his name, where he's from, his likes, dislikes. You give somebody who might be looking for some chance to maybe make it big in the end. You give them something. You give them some kind of an encouragement. Why we do this, I will never know. As far as I will never know this. You never hear me mention the names of killers or shooters or suspects unless and until, and I can't think of anything recently, unless we really need to do this. Seriously, I don't know why. Let me ask you something. To Gina and Oliver, why don't you commit crimes like this? I've had weapons, guns. Why don't I decide to go out and shoot somebody? You could do race. Many of them are white males. Why don't I do that? Why, when I was we always talk, oh my God, I'm very sad about the fact that we keep saying Israel, 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 because there were beautiful people in Israel that have nothing to do with the government's involvement in policy regarding Gaza, but I digress. And you will see young women walking around all the time with weapons slung over their arms. You will see them part of their IDF responsibility and their commitment. They have to carry serious military grade actual assault weapon. Okay. And these are people who, it's fascinating, never lose their minds, never lose a boyfriend, never go crazy, never do anything like this. They never do anything like this. They never hurt anybody. They never do it. I mean, why? They have weapons that could take out, phew. They don't do it. There's something about us. We lose our minds. Some people will say, the reason why I don't kill people is I believe in God. And I believe in the 10 Commandments. Does God keep you from killing people? The number of people who are atheists, Buddhists, people who are irreligious, or who are mildly religious, who just don't have any indication, any instinct of wanting to go to prison or face the death penalty. Has nothing to do with God. They're saying, I have no reason to do this. It's not like, boy, I tell you what, if there was no God and 10 Commandments, by God, I'd be there blasting away. No. What is it? I don't know. Do you not commit crimes do you not murder, rape, rob, pillage because of God? Do you? Can you? Do you believe somebody says you can't have morals without God if man's idea of morality includes their own selfishness? Again, this is the rarest of occasions. Let's just take shooting. None. Do you mean to tell me that were it not for God, they would go out and kill people? No. Who in their right mind says, I would kill people were it not for God? I don't understand that. There might be some. We love to say that God is responsible for why you don't do it. No, you're not a killer. You were raised with a good home, good people, a good friends. Nothing to do with God. You just don't want to hurt anybody. Not because of God. People don't want to do this. A Buddhist has no God. They are atheists. They don't want to hurt anybody. There are people who are atheists who say, remember, who was it? Mark Twain said, atheists are good for nothing, meaning they're good because they have to. What do you think? Nobody here today did not commit a crime because of the 10 Commandments. Nobody. And the 10 Commandments are very, very limited in terms of that which really affects. A lot of them mostly have to deal with the Sabbath and adultery and that. Do you think anybody follows the adultery thing? No. We always say the same thing, that it's God, that it's the 10 Commandments. I submit to you, it's not. It is not. You don't want to do this. Do you lie? Yes. Everybody lies. People lie. Do you fib? Yes. There are many of you who have committed premarital sex. I don't know what the Bible or God says about that. I don't know if anything at all. I think it's silly, but have you always honored your mother and father? No, not at all. For the most part, you don't defile them. You keep the Sabbath. Most people have no interest in going to church, any kind of celebration, nothing. They just believe, they kind of think in the 10 Commandments. Let me ask you this. Think about this. I like this. I like what you're saying. And I'm not mocking you. Here is the 10 Commandments. Ready for this? I am the Lord your God, and you shall not have strange gods before me. Okay? What does that have to do with it? Nothing. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. I'm not really sure what that one means, but I have violated that daily. Remember to keep holy the Lord's day. Most people don't do any kind of church. They keep holy. They don't do anything. They don't go to mass, church. Honor your father and mother. You shall not kill. What about war? Well, you shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife. You shall not covet your neighbor's goods. Now, what does that have to do with killing people? What does that have to do with any of this stuff? Anything? No. Nothing. You really adhere to this? That's the easiest thing. Hell, I even adhere to most of those things. I don't even follow any of this stuff. That's not why you don't do it. That's not why you don't do it. You do it because you're a good person. You have no interest whatsoever. You have not the slightest inkling, persuasion to hurt, to harm, or to shoot someone. No. You love to say that. You always say, well, it's because of God. Okay, maybe it is. Maybe it is. But I don't think that's it. And of the thou shalt not kill. Do you think any of that's going on right now in the Middle East? Oh God, no. We say the same things. We are so axiomatic. Is it mental illness? No. They're not mentally ill. They're not hearing voices. They're not. No, no. I think you'd be surprised of how much of the range of behavior you can follow that is not mental illness. It might be evil. It might be bad. Sal Angelo, ladies and gentlemen, says, here to support Lionel Legal. And I suggest that my fellow compadres do as well. Thank you, Sally boy. Sally, why don't you kill people? Why don't you? Anybody here commit adultery? Don't say anything, but of course, well, not of course you have, but many people have. And some people think adultery under the law says to have sex with somebody while you are married, you don't violate somebody else's. If you're single and you have sex with a married person, you're not committing adultery. They are. That's civil law. Come on. That's not it. That's not it. Why aren't there more? You know that most serial killers, as you know, are white men, like 29 to 40 or something. Very rarely black. There's a few, not like white people. What is that about? Good luck. Because of what? The 10 Commandments? No. 10 Commandments have nothing to do with it. With a serial killer? No. What causes this? I don't know. What causes this? Their behavior, the music, drugs? I don't know. I hear the same music. You know that in Japan, they looked at the number of people who were how do I say this? Number of people who were playing video games, and they were very violent, exceedingly violent video games. I mean, really, really violent, really violent. They don't have anything close to this. Sabertron Toys says, I love tuning in to Lionel University. Thank you, Sabertron. Thank you. Ask yourself this question. Think about what I'm saying. It's a very interesting question. It's a very interesting question. Most of you fine people have nothing to do with the 10 Commandments. Nothing. That's not why you don't kill. Right now, there is an epidemic of child abuse, the likes of which I can't even put into words. I can't even put into words. I don't know what. Why? Child predation, child trafficking, through the roof. Now, a lot of the folks who were involving themselves with, let's say, purveying, producing, disseminating CSAM, child sexual abuse material, they do it, most of them, for the money. They are not, as you would say, pedophiles. That's not why they do that. They will involve themselves in anything involving money. Endangered species, drugs, dealing in stolen property, counterfeit purses, doesn't matter to them. They don't care at all. They do it just because of that. So there's no way to necessarily point directly to that. Because people say, well, that's because of the pedophile. And by the way, the pedophile, as you know, that only deals with what you're attracted to. Did you know that the majority of people who are pedophiles hurt no one? You actually hurt no one. They just think this. They're attracted to it. They're in their mind, they think this. And they're one of these people that it's demented, but you can think whatever you want just to hurt anybody. There are people who have fantasies of cannibalism. There was a New York City police officer one time who was, they arrested him for maybe going online and planning cannibalizing. It was just fantasy. It was role playing and cosplay and all that other kind of stuff. Had nothing to do. He wasn't going to do that. So why is this? Why are there more kids today hurt and harmed than ever before? Why? Why do you think so? The Bible? No. There are people who have, believe it or not, who have done nothing. There are a lot of religious people who spend a lot of time of the day or part of the day, um, uh, always paying homage to God, going to all types of what am I trying to say? Events and the like, church and temple and mosque and they're horrible when it comes to this. So obviously, so what I'm saying is remove yourself from that. Remove yourself. Ask yourself the question. We have right now 1.1 or 1.2 weapons per, I think, adults in this country. They don't do this. There have been weapons by proportion forever. Kids used to take rifles to school. Kids used to take rifles to school on their handlebars. They go deer hunting after or squirrel hunting. They never hurt anybody. They don't, like I told you, in Israel, these young girls, they obviously know what it's like to have their hearts broken. They know what it's like. They are themselves. Uh, they 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 don't do this. Something about us. What is it? And the numbers are very, very de minimis. And for you to sit there and say, "Wow, it's because of God," no, it's not. That doesn't even come close to it. This is the part which is the most important. That's not it. So what do we do? Well, one thing that we need to do more than anything else is there is a feeling in this country that there is no law and order. I can tell you, irrespective of what you believe about the religion or God, people do not fear the police. They don't fear the courts. It's just not there. Let me ask you something. Does anybody today truly believe, that when they say, I promise to honor and obey and love and hold, sick or poor, to be committed to a spouse forever, does anybody really think, oh, this is permanent? Or do they say, well, if it gets to be too much of a problem, I'll get out of it? But the answer is that. Deep down inside, there is nothing permanent about this. It's not like cutting off an arm or a leg. That's permanent. People don't think that. People don't think about that. People get married, but I'm saying and one of the reasons why there's such high divorce is because people know it's so easy to get a divorce, no fault and all that other kind of stuff. So that's one of the reasons. If, however, people could not get unmarried, you would see fewer people getting married. They wouldn't risk it. They wouldn't risk it because they couldn't get unmarried. If you say you don't understand something, once you do this, like cutting off an arm, it does not grow back. We don't know what to do. You will always be married. You are not free to leave to marry somebody else. So you better know what you're doing and you better think about it this time. But most people don't fear that way. They don't think that way. They don't. They're not even inclined to think that. So if you ask yourself the question, well, what happens with crime? Do you believe there's any kind of finality? No. We have the guy called the Gilgo Beach murderer. He's out in Long Island. He was a serial killer. Why do you think he did that? Because he's an atheist? Or he doesn't abide by killers don't abide the 10 Commandments, obviously, because they're killers, but that's too simple. See, the thing that's interesting about morality, it's very simple for them. Black and white, Manichaean, apodictic, left and right, up and down, good versus evil, yes or no. That's it. No gray. Most things are gray. You get a few things. There are two types of crimes, two offenses. Malum prohibitum, which mean those things, those events which are wrong because we say they're wrong. Malum prohibitum. The other one is malum in se, wrong in and of themselves. Murder, hurting a child, SA, as they say, don't know about these. They're just wrong. And most people see it that way, no matter who you are. Most people say it no matter who you are. How many Christians believe that homosexuality is a sin? How many? I'm not, you might want to say there's a lot of folks who are very, very certain to have great certainty about that. How many people believe that homosexuality is a sin? A lot of people. A lot of people. Is it in the Ten Commandments? Nope. But it's elsewhere, perhaps. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure. Not sure. But anyway. Now, the issue is other people believe it as well. Other people do it as well. Do you think it's very interesting? Do you think that in that particular case of other people who are involved in some type of a behavior in their life, do you think that other folks might say to themselves, well, I think it's against the law. And by the way, I think throwing them off of a bill, I don't know how often this is done, but there are some countries where it has happened. They've hanged people. So they agree it's wrong, but the penalty is a different story. But ultimately, it's the same idea. So they would look at you and say, you don't obviously feel very strongly about this because you're not advocating the death of these people. See, that's one thing too, which people don't understand. They don't understand or grasp the notion of death. So it's a fascinating case. But when you ever talk about this, when people who are very devout in their faith, very sure, they just talk to you, they listen to you, and they're fine. Other people get very upset because deep down inside, they kind of question themselves. They always have to tell you the way they feel, what they believe, what's right or wrong, or good or evil, and God, and yes or no. They're absolutely without peer when it comes to this. We don't know why they do it. They just do this. They love to tell you this. And you miss the idea, you miss the good parts, because the good parts of this show that it's a very, very complicated event. That's all. And some of your stuff has been absolutely terrific. Now, remember, your thoughts and comments regarding the Ten Commandments aren't going to help us in terms of law and order. I don't know what we're going to do regarding the Ten Commandments and law and order. I don't know what we're going to do with that. I'm not really sure. It's not that it's wrong, but we are a civil society. Our laws are not theocratic. They are civil. And as much as you think we get them from, I love this when they say, well, we get our morality from the Ten Commandments. No, there were laws in ancient Roman. They were atheists. Greece, same thing. There was no God. People a long time ago said, I think killing people is not a good thing. We should put an end to that. You don't need to believe in God to see the error in killing. And they were atheists. And we took our laws from them, not from the Ten Commandments. Remember, most of the Ten Commandments deal with religious observance and the like. But the actual laws, and what also is, what's interesting as well, another example of laws that have nothing to do with what you think is Sharia. Most Sharia has to do with civil laws in marriages and, disputes and that sort of thing, not cutting people's hands off. They love this. This thing about the hadith? Actually, they say 72 virgins. That's not in the Quran at all. Not at all. That's a hadith and is misinterpreted. Because most people, remember, don't study the Bible, don't study religion, don't really study anything. They have a kind of an understanding of what this is. And the more forthright they are, the more adamant they are, the more verbose, the more expansive, the more insistent that you listen to them, the more deep down inside, they're not really sure about aspects of their faith. Because one of the things that I believe is a part of Christianity is the notion of proselytizing by not, hitting you over the head with some kind of a truncheon, but to sit and explain this. The louder people are, the more they scream, and the more offense they take, the more unsure they are of religion. And this has been forever. because they always want to know this one violated it, this one and God would normally say, I'll take care of that. You live your life, follow my word, I'll take care of that. Oh no, God, I'm going to help you out with this. See, all of these people, no, excuse me, I'll take care of that. I'll take care of that. Because God loves sinners. Remember this one, Jesus especially. Yeah, but that was a technicality. So in any event, so Sal, thank you so much. Thank you so very much for your kind and your wonderful thoughts, Sal. I appreciate it immensely. You are such a mensch. I say to you, grazie mille. Thank you for that. And also to our dear friend, who else? We had another one. Another friend of ours who said, I do not know this. Ryan, I believe. I'm not sure. I don't know. In any event, thank you for that. Thank you. Very, very kind. Anyway, my friends, tonight, don't forget, tune in at 1 a.m. at WABC. We're going to continue talking about this. We're going to be, and I'm going to be using the same kind of arguments, same theory, to ask people all around the country what they think about this. And you're invited to call in at 800-848-9222. If you go to my front page at Lionel Media, which is my X page, you'll see all that information. All right, dear friends, thank you so much. Have a great and a glorious day and a beautiful evening. Remember, love everybody. You don't need God to tell you that. It just makes sense. Till then, my friend, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Oh, and make sure you are subscribed to Lionel Legal, as well as Lionel Nation. 80% of the people who watch our videos aren't subscribed. And that, of course, as you know, is the critical elements of the HOV lane, which gets more people to watch us, to pay attention. No screaming, no yelling, just good old-fashioned deep thinking. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. Until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Dad.